This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Good morning and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Tuesday, November 23. In Squiz Kids Today, Fortress Australia lowers its drawbridge. Tokyo's Robot Cafe. BTS dominate music awards and the March of the Red Crab begins. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
For the past 2 years, give or take, Australia has earned a reputation around the world for being a fortress, as the country has battled the coronavirus. Fortress Australia has been a term used to describe how we have closed the country to visitors from overseas. Because if you have studied them in history yet, you'd know fortresses are places that have high walls, like a castle, that keep people out. Well, yesterday the drawbridge on Fortress Australia was lowered a little bit after the government announced that from next week, fully vaccinated travellers from overseas would be allowed into the country. And among the visa-holding visitors who will be given priority to come will be international students, people who come to Australia from other countries to study at our universities and other places of higher education. People who are called skilled migrants will also be welcomed back from next week. Those are people who come to work in Australia from other countries. And also refugees, who are people who have come to Australia to escape things like wars or natural disasters. It's another step towards life after COVID. And who couldn't be happy about that?
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Tokyo, where a cafe run by shiny white robots has won the grand prize in a prestigious design competition. The reason people are so excited about Dawn Cafe is not just that a cute robot with glowing eyes will take your order and bring your food and drinks, although that's awesome all on its own. And of course there are pictures in your episode notes. It's that people with disabilities are piloting the robots in the ultimate work-from-home opportunity. It's estimated that in Japan, a quarter of the population is not able to work due to disability, age, or illness. The Robot Cafe gives them the ability to work in a cafe without ever leaving home. They drive the robot around using a mouse, a tablet, or a special kind of remote control controlled by eye movement. The inventor behind the concept of a remote-controlled robot cafe says it's a way for people to participate and contribute to their community even if they can't leave home. And I'll eat and drink to that.
Pop Culture Corner.
And what a surprise. It was a BTS kind of a night at the American Music Awards in Los Angeles yesterday, when the Korean supergroup continued their unstoppable march to world domination by winning Artist of the Year, Favourite Pop Group and Favourite Pop Song for their chart topper, Butter. The boys performed at the awards ceremony alongside Coldplay, and there was even a nod to 90s boy bands when New Kids on the Block teamed up with New Edition to perform a tribute that no one under the age of 30 had the remotest idea was about. Olivia Rodrigo made good on her 7 nominations, taking home New Artist of the Year, beating our very own The Kid Laroi. Doja Cat and Megan Thee Stallion also had a good night, both collecting 3 awards each. Oh, and there was a man with an umbrella on his head on the red carpet. Umbrella hats. Great idea if it's raining, I guess, but kind of impractical at an awards night. I would hate to have been stuck in the seat behind him.
Animal Kingdom.
What's red and has a hard outer shell and millions of legs, pincers and black beady eyes? The annual red crab migration on Christmas Island, that's what. And it's officially underway on the tiny island in the Indian Ocean, which, despite being 1,500 kilometres away from the Western Australian coast and only 350 kilometres away from Indonesia's coast, it happens to be an Australian territory. When the first wet season rain falls, it's the cue for millions of red crabs to march out of the forests on the island and down to the water's edge to mingle with other crabs and release their eggs into the sea. There are so many crabs involved in this annual migration that entire roads are closed down for the weeks that it happens, and bridges have been built over roads to help the crabs make their journey without a close encounter with a car tyre. Ew. I've stuck a link to video of the crabs on the march in today's episode notes.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. In which city on America's west coast were the American Music Awards staged yesterday? That's right, it was Los Angeles. Question number 2. What's the name of the island where the red crabs perform their annual migration? Yeah, it's Christmas Island. Question number 3. In which city is the Dawn Cafe, where robots serve you coffee? You got it, it's Tokyo.
Shout-outs.
It's November 23, birthday of Aussie Olympic swimming champ and Survivor winner Shane Gould, and also of pop star Miley Cyrus. And I reckon a birthday is about all that those two have in common. It's also a special day for these Squiz kids celebrating a birthday today. Latoya from Dubbo, Lily from Fadden, Chris from Albany Hills, Delilah from Nowra, Nathaniel from Epping, Harry from Murrelbach, Jed from The Rock, Zara from Abbotsford, Elise from Mansfield, Joanna from Willoughby, Harry from Forest Lake, and Ken and Masuma from Manopara. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Isabel from Kashmir and Lily from Murrurundi. And today's classroom shout-outs go to Mrs. Petherick's Class 4 Blue at St Vincent's Primary School on the Gold Coast, Miss Klickovics and Mrs. Azzy's Grade 6 classes at John the Baptist Catholic Primary School in Bonnyrigg Heights. A classroom shout out to the Year 3 students at Father John Terry Catholic Primary School in Sydney, and to Class 7-8G at Nelson Park School in Geelong. And finally to Class 1D and Mrs. McNally and Class 3R, both at Redham House in Wallara. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.